What does music mean to you guys?
Music for us is the definition of our identity, and we've always been really ingrained in like the music scene from a
Yeah.
young age, playing piano and guitar growing up. Also, music is another way to kind of like let ourselves express what we feel in life.
I woke up in Milan with smoke up in my lungs. Don't know if it's the liquor, but you might just be the one.
How did growing up in Miami shape your creativity, and what influence does fashion play in your lives?
I guess I can answer the first part of that. I think growing up in Miami, there's a lot of fashion culture, there's a lot of music culture in the music scene. We were both into rock music a lot, so it kind of felt like we had to like carve our own path in a way because Miami was like heavily like electronic influenced music, Latin music. So like kind of gave us our own identity in that sense because we were doing like our own thing and we weren't like following like the norm or whatever. And then I don't know, fashion wise, you have an idea?
Yeah. I mean, on the music thing as well, like I think it's really cool for us to like go back home as adults and like see the electronic space in Miami because now we can like take bits and pieces from it and kind of like build it into our own sound.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like I've missed out on like so much of that identity growing up like without the electronic scene in Miami, but like going back there, I think it's like really cool to like rediscover like your own city in that way.
Yeah, because it was always going on around us, but
We
like
just never really like took part in
exactly.
it.
But it's cool to know that it was there and like it's honestly kind of cool that like we weren't brought up in it, but now we're discovering it, like discovering something that was always there that we loved.
Darius, talk about hockey and what it means to you. How did it shape you as a person?
So I mean, obviously, music and hockey have always been like little columns of my life for me, and I took the decision to pursue hockey just based on what I felt I was the best at growing up, and I put a lot of time into it, and eventually decided to move away from home and do all that type of stuff with hockey, just because my success in hockey was coming really fast, and I felt like this is something that I could see myself doing in the future. But I did always love music on the side, and I think it really gave me like a good perspective on like how to work with people and just like meeting new people every year, playing on different teams. I think it really gave me
Like social skills.
social skills and like just a mindset to like be accepting of like whoever I'm in a work environment with. And I think that's one of the biggest things that's like translated over to music with me is we're in sessions with new people every day. You don't know how you're gonna like mesh with them, but like just being able to be cordial and like have a conversation and frankly just like kick it with like whoever you're with. I think that's been probably the biggest takeaway, at least from sports.
What motivated you to take the risk of quitting hockey to pursue twin diplomacy and move out to LA?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's like super scary, but I think having my brother here and like knowing that he'd gone through the LA gauntlet a little bit, like being at school and like networking a little bit, gave me some sense of ease moving out here.
Yeah.
And I think we had a lot of at least streaming success early on, and I felt like maybe a little bit delusional in the sense that like we were invincible like from the get-go. So I think when you have like numbers pouring in and like people backing you from the beginning, it's like really easy to like have confidence in yourself. But
Yeah.
I think the longer I've been here, I've had to like develop our like my own confidence in our project, and like it's always been there, but I think like now I'm like really starting to see like what the true vision is after like being with my feet on the ground for a while now. So
Marius, talk about your background in music and what gave you the confidence to pursue twin diplomacy.
I think Darius and I kind of had a similar start in music. We both loved this ride at Disney World called Rock and Roller Coaster,
Yeah.
and it had Aerosmith as like the featured band, and it had that was like the soundtrack when you were on the ride. And we kind of fell in love with rock music through that, and always wanted to play in bands growing up. So we had like a similar start to it. But obviously, when he moved away to school, I kind of dove deeper into music production, like playing guitar, writing songs. It kind of gave me my own identity in a way.
Yeah.
Darius, like, I mean, we both played hockey, but, it kind of helped me, like, we are twins, but having the two separate, like, pillars, like hockey and music, one of us is doing, like, each of those things, like, helped me have my own identity and, like, passion. I think the transition into electronic music was also like, you can give Darius credit for that because he put me onto a lot of electronic stuff.
Yeah.
And then we went to Lollapalooza in 2019. I would say that was like when I really fell in love with like the live scene of electronic music. And then when I got to USC, it was hard to find like a rehearsal space. So I was like, oh, like computer music, this is perfect. Like you can do that in your dorm. And then I think USC was like a perfect spot to like build out a sound in-house in electronic music just because of all the influence here. Working with people that, you know, I've just met, kind of like Darius was talking about in the sessions that we're in like today. Seeing all these different people that I was working with from different backgrounds like showed me like, oh, like, you know, like I'm not like the only one who's like interested in like taking music as seriously as like I would have been in Miami, where like, you know, maybe I'm doing it as a hobby. And like it showed me that like people like really like want to like turn this into their career. It kind of gave me like some inspiration in that sense.
How did you two discover your creative synergy and decide to merge your passions into twin diplomacy?
We've always wanted to do music together from the start. Like we would pretend to be playing in bands like in our garage and stuff growing up. And we did play in bands growing up. So like at a certain point, we always knew we wanted to like do an artistic project together. We were both kind of at like a crossroads in our respective like careers, me in music and him in hockey. So it was like perfect opportunity to pounce on it.
And you guys describe a situation where your passion for music helped you guys overcome a major obstacle.
I guess at least for me, like making the transition from like not playing hockey anymore, and diving into something that I've always loved but never like taken as seriously as I want to, was definitely nerve-wracking. And you know, you go from like such a structured and like routine life, and like everything's planned out for you every day. Like you don't really have your say in like what you do every day. Whereas when we're here in the studio, like we're treating it like a job. We're here like from noon till dinner time, like pretty much every single day. But like that's a choice. Like we don't have to be doing that. And I think a lot of other people in this space like don't have like maybe the structure or like rigidness to their schedule that we do. And like you could also argue it takes away from like the artistic part of it, because you kind of want to just like go with the flow and see where your head's at each day. But I think the most important thing for us is like showing up every day, and like you have a clean slate every day and just writing something new.
I think though, like having that process in place is like really important.
Yeah.
Because like no one's stopping you. Like if you get inspired at home, like after you get home from being in the studio to like work on music, but like being here and working, and just knowing that this is the workspace that we're in, and like, you know, you don't have to create, you know, you could be answering emails, you could be doing other stuff that's not music, you know, it's just like contributing to the project.
Yeah. But I think overall, like, it's been a big adjustment for me, just like not having like someone else like plan my day out for me, and like have to make your own decisions on like a daily basis of like where you're going to put your effort into. So I think that's been a big obstacle to leave.
How did you guys leverage your individual uniqueness to create a distinct identity for twin diplomacy?
We like similar things in music, but obviously not the exact same things. There's always creative differences, but like I think that's actually a good thing. Like we were both like sitting here being like, I love like everything we're making. Like there's no pushback on anything. Like we're not really like growing and developing our sound. I think that's helped.
But I think we like do share the most important like themes in our music. Like throughout our music there is like a certain, I guess, like darkness to our sound, but we can also take it in like poppier and like more interesting directions. But I think like we both kind of love that, like these weird sounding chords and like these like really like interesting unique melodies that aren't like so far down the center. So when we have like our own individual preferences like coming into play with that main goal in mind of like keeping it dark and weird in a way, I think it creates like a really unique blend of like the sound that we're trying to create.